Vladimir Gusev made a decision to quit the stage and consequently leave the race for medical reasons. Old knee injuries troubled him. He also suffered a new injury and decided to quit so as not to make things worse.
Stage 14 of the Red Bull Trans-Siberian Extreme started near the Triumphal Arch on the embankment in Blagoveshchensk. The route is 689 kilometers long and leads the riders along the Chinese border into the city of Khabarovsk.
Obviously, the king stage is like a little finish line. When you finish that stage, you're like almost in Vladivostok. It was nice mentally to like get it off.
We faced a new specific injury, rubbing sores on the thumb cushions of the Indian Amit Samath and the Spaniard Patricio Duce.
I had some problem in the pain in the toes because of constant pressure. So I had to ride in normal shoes for almost 5-6 hours.
We started the stage all together and then we stopped for dinner. At the first food point, Pierre told me, "You stay with me and we're going to get there all together." I want to acknowledge that Pierre did 90% of the work and I'm really grateful for that. Patricio showed the heart of a warrior during this race. He endured many hardships and he deserves victory of this stage. We're all happy for him.
Patricio Ducet won stage 14 with a time of 28 hours, 47 minutes and 21 seconds. Marcelo Florentino Suarez finished 2 seconds later. Pierre Bishop was third, Michael Knudsen arrived fourth and Amit Samath came fifth. Vladimir Gusev wasn't able to complete the stage and was disqualified. The last 15th stage of the Red Bull Trans-Siberian Extreme started near the Arena Yerofey Sports Complex in Khabarovsk. The route is 765 kilometers long and it can pose a serious problem not only to the exhausted athletes but also to their bikes.
Riders had bikes of varied sophistication. Some had simpler models with classic mechanical gear shifters. Others had electronics. For example, Michael Knudsen had a problem with the rear shifter. We had to dismantle, dry, clean and get it back to life on the go. Luckily, everything is still functioning. I would recommend choosing a bike that is as simple and reliable as possible. Because on such long, super long distances, breakdowns happen often. And it's very hard to find some specific shifter or component in Siberia. That's why I believe that reliability should be the main factor.
For the first time in the history of the race, 2/3 of the athletes who had started in Moscow were able to ride the full distance to Vladivostok. The Russian Vladimir Gusev quit the race due to injuries, while the Spaniard Patricio Ducet refused to complete the longest stage in order to save energy for the road ahead.
I'm very happy. And I don't have much to say other that I'm going to have to come back next year to complete all the stages.
The Indian Amit Samath chose a tactic similar to Patricio Ducet's, but unlike the Spaniard, didn't quit any stages despite the hardness of the route and many-hour lag.
The objective which I came here is fulfilled, and I wanted to finish the race and finish all the stages. So I'm extremely happy with the outcome.
For the Brazilian Marcelo Florentino Suarez, this race was probably the hardest of the three he took part in.
Frankly speaking, the fact that I arrived in Vladivostok is a miracle in itself. It does not matter which place I took, I don't care about that. The fact that I'm in Vladivostok is enough of a prize for me.
Last year, the Dane Michael Knudsen managed to get only as far as Krasnoyarsk. This time he was able to finish what he started. From the very beginning, he was in the top 3 and ultimately finished second.
You can't train yourself to cycle 9,000 kilometers. It will always be in the head. Mentally, it's probably one of the toughest races you can ever do because the distance is such a long distance. You need to be able to cope with that mentally. I would describe it as the mentally hardest thing I've ever done.
A year ago, Pierre Bischoff lost a fierce contest to Alexei Shebelin. This time he was able not only to break Shebelin's record on the King stage, but also to defeat the professional cyclist Vladimir Gusiev, his main competitor. He closed out his last year's mistakes and made no new ones.
The race is quite young, so it's quite interesting when you have the chance to set new records, and especially on the King stage. So I'm proud to set the new record for 2.5 hours faster than last year. But at the end, the most important thing is to reach the finish line, and that I have reached the finish line like Marcello as a second-time total finisher. That means me a lot.
Stage 15 results were exactly the same as those of the general classification. Pierre Bischoff became the winner of both the stage and the race. Michael Knudsen won silver and Marcelo Florentino Suarez got bronze. Amit Samath finished 4th. Patricio Duset completed the race in the minor classification while Vladimir Gusiev was forced to leave the race due to injuries.